Hello everyone, Shintobean here playing some more Warhammer combat cards. In this video I will be showcasing the newest Warlord to enter the game for the Orcs, Warlord number 4, Boss Snikrot. He is a pretty low cost Warlord at 28 points, he has a decent melee attack, pretty low health, his trait is Fear, and special rule is different from the other Orc Warlords, whose abilities trigger every time an enemy card is destroyed, but for Snikrot it occurs only when one of your orcs attacks a card that is not in the opposite lane. So that can happen in one of three scenarios. One, if you are attacking an enemy unit with taunt. Number two, if you have a precision shot or furious charge that takes out a low health enemy, enabling that unit to attack a unit in a different lane. And number three, if you just outnumber the enemy towards the end of the match and they have an open lane with no unit in it, his ability can activate there. So that makes it sound like it would trigger pretty often, but it's actually pretty situational, I think. Those don't actually occur as often as you would like. So I don't know really how good he will be. At first, my first impression is that he's really not nearly as good as any of the other Orc Warlords, but haven't really played with him much, so this is the composition I'll be using for him. Almost all of these units here have a Furious Charge or Precision Shot. We've got a few ranged ones like the Boosta Blasta and the Dakajet. I also got a melee heavy unit with the Scrapjet here, as well as a Psyker, the only Psyker for the Orcs, Ed Zappa. He also has the Warp Surge trait, so we'll see how this goes in ranked mode, and hopefully we will be able to see Boss Snikrot's special rule in action. But I mean, there is a little bit of luck involved. It depends on what we are up against and the order of the units deployed and all that. So we will be fighting against Necrons. Looks like they have 5 or 6 bodyguards there, and level 5, not too high of a level. Okay, I guess we'll start off with ranged, I suppose, and hopefully we can save the Dakajet for later, because that's the big one. It has the potential to do a tremendous amount of damage. But this is not the ideal deployment here. I guess we'll just put down the Scrapjet and see what happens. They have a destroyer. The heavy destroyer is a very powerful Necron unit. With Berserk, can get very powerful very quickly. This one's at level 7, so pretty high level there. I do have the initiative. It's a pretty high initiative composition I'm using, so we'll start off with some ranged and see how it goes. My orc buggies are pretty high level, so they have plenty of health. We'll see how long they last against these Necrons. Necrons have gotten very powerful recently, and they have some really hard hitters. But off to a pretty good start here. Let's see, I think we'll just keep going. Well, I think we'll go with the melee for a round here. So we want to keep an eye out for try to get enemies down to a low health around the time that I deploy my next unit, which is pretty hard. It requires a lot of planning and stuff, and since you never know what's going to come out next, it's really kind of hard to play around. So in this case, I have an opening here on the left. However, my Dakajet will not be able to snipe that this thing, the Canoptek Wraith. So yeah, not really ideal. We'll just put down this biker here on the right, and let's look at the Annihilation Barge. 82 damage, that's a lot of damage. Okay, we'll just go with ranged again. That poor biker is getting blasted to bits. And what do we want to do next? So as of now, Snikrot's ability has not triggered a single time. And okay, I think we'll just put this here. And of course they got the Deceiver. That is a very powerful card as well. Outflank, reducing the damage of all of my attack types. There you go with ranged, almost taking out the Scrapjet, but it barely survives. And yeah, this is really not an ideal situation. I don't think my ability will even have a chance to trigger at all here. So I'll put down the Scrapjet there. Opposite the Annihilation Barge, maybe it'll be able to do something next turn. But okay, we'll just let Ed Zappa zap away at the Deceiver and see what they go. They are opting for melee, so the Annihilation Barge will heal itself. The Scrapjet goes down, and I don't know. I don't think my Dokajet is really strong enough to take out the Annihilation Barge. Snikrot himself deploys, and nope. I think we'll just have to go Psychic here. Snikrot has a melee debuff for his Redding ability. And now they're going ranged. Yeah, that's a whole lot of damage. So this is really not working out very well for me. The Dokajet finally able to take out the Annihilation Barge. But Snikrot is very vulnerable. So this is kind of the opposite of what you want to have happen. You want the enemy to end up with fewer cards than yourself. But yeah, in this situation, there's really no way to take advantage of Snikrot's special rule. And he will get taken down by that very weak attack from the Corpse Lord. So, yeah, that was pretty bad. Snikrot's ability did not trigger a single time that game. So, yeah, like I said, very situational. Now, I do want to play one more game just to see if I can get it to happen. So this will be a little bit of a longer video, but if you are willing to, if you have the patience to continue to bear with me for a little bit, I do want to see if I can get this ability to activate at least once. And now we're up against Watch Captain Artemis of Space Marines. Now this guy used to be very weak, but his special rule was buffed by quite a bit. So every time the enemy Space Marine deploys, it deals damage, percentage-based damage to an enemy unit. So we'll see what kind of composition they're running. I do want the precision shot unit across from their shielded unit, and I think we'll just put down the Boosta Ballista in the center lane. And again, we have the initiative, so we get to go first. So I think we'll start off with ranged. I'm trying to think if I did something wrong last game. If there's any way I could have played it differently to get Snikrot's ability to activate, but I don't know. I mean, Snikrot does allow for a little bit of flexibility. You can include units with any sort of attack type, but I'm thinking putting at least a little bit of range in there is the best. Okay, here we go. So I can deploy my Dokajet. It will snipe this guy, the Primaris Lieutenant, taking him down. And then, so now my Dokajet can fire upon the Terminator in that lane. Now, as you can see, it can easily kill the Terminator already. So Snikrot's special rule is not even necessary. You will see it activate here, though. Got the little glowing green knives or whatever. So that Dokajet would have actually done 160 damage, which is quite a bit, but very much overkill in this situation and not really necessary. So that's another thing. Even when the ability activates, it's not always going to really help you very much. That's a problem with these situational abilities. Like I said in my last video, Big Game Hunters also suffers from that problem. It's not always very useful even when it activates. They still have 2 bodyguards left and quite a few deck points, I imagine, so we might see some powerful cards coming out here. Artemis, his special rule, chipping away at my units' health, and that's a lot of melee damage there. Alright, so this might be a pretty close match, and unfortunately unable to snipe any of those units. We'll put down the docket jet, or not the docket jet, but the scrap jet in the center, and yeah, that's quite a bit of damage there. Pretty good. So now their Warlord will be forced to deploy. Now in this situation, we might actually be able to see Snikrot's ability trigger one more time. Whoa, okay, that was not good. Just took out the boosted blaster there, and Artemis also has a big game hunter now, so he deals extra damage. Well, that did not work out so well for me. I could still win easily by deploying my weird boy. Actually, no, I can't, because I only have 2 cards left. So my Snikrot's going to have to deploy here. I will go for the psychic option to clear that right lane over there. And I think I should be able to win this one. Kind of curious what they go for next. I'm guessing ranged. So I guess we will be able to see Snikrot's ability do what it's supposed to here. So the weird boy will be able to attack from a different lane, doubling its damage. So it's increasing the damage by 100%. Just right here, as you can see, an additional 100% damage. So normally the weird boy would only deal 45 damage to Artemis, but that will be doubled to 90, I believe. So it should take him out. And yep, working as intended. So there's an example of the ability actually activating. So it can be pretty powerful in certain situations for sure, but I think those scenarios will be few and far between. So if you are trying out Snikrot, good luck with that. Let me know what you think of his stats and his ability, if you will be using him or not. But as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.